The Orange and Blue are in the Windy City looking for another 2 points, that is, as the Edmonton Oilers wrap up a brief 2-game road trip against the Blackhawks. We get you set right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Hello, everybody. It's Gazzola live on location. Boston Pizza, Westgate. Shout out to Tony. Shout out to Curtis. Shout out to Faith. Shout out to Connor, the bartender, and the entire staff here. Everybody that's come out. Shout out to Rob from the Grove right over my shoulder. There's Rob. Wave, Rob. Hello. There he is. Yeah, there's Rob from the Grove. Get into the conversation. 780-218-9999. Text us. We want to hear from you. Nasty chat. Do your thing. Hope you're driving safe if you're on your way home still from work. The road's a little bit slick, but yeah, we're here to keep you company as hopefully you're staying warm as well. Gazzola and Salas with you. Matt Kassian will be joining us shortly for Game Changers. And we'll also hear from Phil Thompson from the Chicago Tribune, giving us the scoop on the Blackhawks, who continue to struggle and are just trying to survive the rest of this season. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Hernandez, a lot of people out there trying to stay warm. You can do it here with your buds at BP. You're at ESD Global HQ. Hopefully, I can convince you and twist your rubber arm to come down here and join me and Derek Van Dies, who will be down here, and Rob from the Grove and the entire staff here. Hopefully, we get some more people in here. How you doing tonight, pal?
Good, man. It's been a long day, but got a lot of work done. Looking forward to this. Like our buddy, the Big Uke said, I just want a nice, tidy win for the Oilers tonight. That
would be lovely.
That would be lovely. You know, it was fun. I mean, post-game, we had a lot of laughs, and then today, Gage was fired up about the lateral movement of Stuart Skinner. We were both fired up that the officials kind of took over with the game management last night. Called some bad penalties, missed 2 obvious ones. So we'll see what kind of game we get tonight. But it's always fun when the boys are in Chi-Town. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be good. One of the great cities to go to visit. Great place to go watch a hockey game. I've seen a baseball game at Wrigley Field, a Cubs game, because I know that's something you asked Tab Bamford about earlier in the day on your show, and something we talked about on the Hangout. I have not seen a football game there. That would be awesome. I know they call it like the spaceship at Soldier Field, and it's a historic stadium, although they essentially changed it up drastically about 10, 15 years ago. And there's been controversy. Are the Bears going to stay downtown? Are they going to move to one of the suburbs? Hopefully they stay downtown. I know they're kind of going back and forth with the city. That's the power of the NFL, man. And then I've never been to a White Sox game, I don't think I've been to a Bulls game. No, I haven't. But it is a great sports city. It's just a great city in general. And I know CJ in LA is now CJ in Chicago. She's pre-gaming. I checked her Instagram earlier. CJ, there she is. She chimed in. Highly recommend forcing your Chicago Uber driver to stream EST pregame en route to the Oilers game. Go Oil. Yeah, all right. CJ, shout out to your Uber drivers for streaming the pregame show. She's going to have a great time. The anthem at United Center, Jim Cornelison, the guy's like 7 feet tall, just a giant of a human being. And the power of his voice when they're singing the Star Spangled Banner and the flag starts to flutter. It is really cool. I remember my first road trip with the Oilers many, many moons ago. That was it was Chicago, Calgary, and Columbus. Started in Calgary, then went to Columbus and ended in Chicago. And I remember just having goosebumps and the tingles down my spine after that anthem. It was so cool. So hopefully the Oilers can provide a little bit of fireworks inside the building for those who are in attendance sporting orange and blue. Okay, before we get to the question of the night, I do want to throw out that we are here at Boston Pizza Westgate. Come on down if you're not doing anything. Take advantage of game day deals. $5 off medium pizzas, $1 off of Molson and Coors tankards of beer. A lot of prize giveaways. As always, Tony hooked me up. We're going to give away some GC, some hats, some coolers. I see a Madri beer chalice. So lots of great stuff, some T-shirts as well. And Tony went and he made sure to get larger T-shirts because we don't want like Big Uke walking out here with a boys medium when Big Uke is a bigger man himself. So come on down, and we'll be giving those out all night long. Also, Super Bowl coming up this weekend on Sunday here at Boston Pizza Westgate. Join the tailgate party from 2 to 4 p.m. Get yourself a beer and a burger for $10. And all the proceeds are going to the Ben Stelter Foundation. Great cause. All proceeds. I want to reiterate that. And then during the game, tons of great prize giveaways. They're saving the good stuff for Sunday in the game. So come on down here to BP Westgate. It's going to be packed. Great vibes, great food, and great giveaways, and a great cause in the Ben Stelter Foundation as well. And then also Valentine's Day next week, Nanso, maybe you can pick up a heart-shaped pizza for Angelica here at Boston Pizza.
Yeah.
Mediums and smalls, and enjoy. I would recommend the Meteor. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I think didn't we have it for our meeting, the Meteor? That was really good.
We did.
Yeah.
They didn't last long.
No, it didn't.
Devoured.
It was
Hungry
delicious.
Boys. It was. All right. I'm going to get into the starting lineup right away here, but I want to get the question of the night from you. You got something for us?
I do. And, okay, so Gager and I have talked about Bedard all year long, and Gager says he's good, obviously, but he's not as high as him as some others. So the question is, the way, and it's a little bit unfair because he's on a really bad team. Let's just call it how it is. This team is not very talented. The roster is pretty poor. But
it is bad.
From what you've seen early on, is Connor Bedard going to be a star or a superstar in this league? Because there's a difference, Tom. A big difference. What say you?
Do I get to start?
Sure.
Or do you want to take it? All right, I'll start. I think he'll be a superstar. I really do. Now, is he going to be the piece that puts the team over the top, the generational talent that some people were tagging him with that term? That I'm not so sure about. I think he'll be a superstar. I think he'll be a 100-point guy. We're talking about it today on the Oil Stream. I don't think he's going to be a 120-point guy. That's a rare accomplishment, although we've seen it in recent years from a couple of guys. But I do think he will be a superstar. He could be the face of the franchise for the Hawks. And if they can build a good team around him, maybe they become competitive. Maybe they make a run to a Stanley Cup final. Who knows? But do I think he's going to be a generational superstar? Not so much. He's better than a star talent. I think he'll be better than that, and he'll be a superstar in this league, Hernan.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great.
Guy.
Maybe 40 to 50, sure. As he gets older, figures out the NHL more. Yeah, 90 to 100 points. A legitimate superstar. Now, the elite of the elite, if he elevates to that level, I'm not so convinced.
Yeah,
better than a star for sure.
I'm kind of with you. I don't think he's at Crosby, McDavid, McKinnon, Ovechkin, like generational talents, like you mentioned earlier. I don't think he's at that level, but I do think he's going to be a superstar. I think he's going to net 50. I think he's going to be the face of that franchise for many, many years. He will get help. There will be better players down the road for him. But I truly do think that he is going to be a superstar. I think a lot's being made of his first 2 years. And even look at it now, Tom. I know he's not exactly at a point per game this year, but he's still playing fairly well for that team. Leads them in scoring on a very, very poor team. So I think this kid's only going to get stronger. He's going to get maybe not bigger. I mean, I think the
I don't think he's getting any bigger.
Yeah, but he's going to get, he's going to grow into being a man. And like I said, once the talent is once he's surrounded by better talent, I think this sky's the limit for him. Again, I don't think he's at the level of the elite of the elite of the NHL, but I think he is a potential superstar for sure.
Arthur chiming in, this is a hot take, says he's only 19, but I have a feeling Bedard will only be an above average NHLer. Ooh. Arthur coming in over the top with that one. Zedmo says he's better than Taylor Hall. Yeah, that Taylor Hall is not the same player he was when he was at the top of his game, without question there. And then I saw a couple of texts via the inbox, troll texting in saying Bedard seems like he's a Jack Hughes / Eichel type of star, but not a McDavid / Draisaitl level star. I think that's fair. Jack Hughes and Eichel, those are superstars in the NHL, faces of franchises, great players. Eichel's a Stanley Cup champion. He's been great since he was drafted. I know he was in Buffalo, lots of turmoil there. Buffalo's a mess on its own. Hopefully Chicago can turn it around, unlike the Sabres. But I think that's a fair assessment by Troll. Bedard, more like Hughes/Eichel, as opposed to McDavid/Draisaitl.
How about this one? Big Uke sent this one. He's more like a Mitch Marner.
Yeah, and Mitch Marner is a superstar in the NHL. Perennial all-star, 100-point guy. Now, is he the motor?
I like that.
Is he the engine for the Toronto Maple Leafs? Not necessarily. You got Austin Matthews there. Nylander helps with that. John Tavares, who was a superstar, I would say is still a star in the National Hockey League. Marner's a superstar. Right now, he's in his window. That's a good comparison. Duffman texting in saying, Bedard equals superstar, just not a supernova. I like it. We're taking it up a notch here with the supernova. Text us your thoughts, 780-218-9999. Get to the nasty chat. Finish that up, Hernan. What do you want to say?
No, I was just going to say, it's interesting. We had this conversation last week, and I remember a bunch of people texted in saying, Jack Eichel's a star, not a superstar. So that's why, because for everybody, it's different, right? Like, it depends on where you place these guys, right? Because I have time to hear an argument that he's Jack Eichel's not a superstar.
Why isn't Jack Eichel a superstar? Like, what do you think?
I just don't think he can. I don't think he can single-handedly lead his team to a championship like Connor can, like Crosby. I think.
Well, Connor hasn't done it. Eichel has done it, though.
No, but Eichel's won a Stanley Cup, but he wasn't the guy. Like it wasn't like we were like, holy, Jack Eichel's been amazing. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Again, like I'm nitpicking here. Like he's a fantastic hockey player. I just don't know if I'd superstar or star. Right? It's a good debate, but nonetheless.
Eichel's best offensive season, and this might surprise some people, was with Buffalo in 18-19, 82 points. The most goals he scored in a season is 36. He did that in 19-20 in the shortened COVID season. He had 36 in 68 games. He was en route and pace to probably 100.
Yeah.
I would say. Finished the season with 78 points that year. Then had that neck issue. Had to come back from that. And then in 3 full seasons as a Golden Knight, has not played more than 67 games in any of the seasons. He'll probably do that this year. He's more healthy this year. Yeah. 66 points in 22-23, 68 points last season. He's already at 66 this year with 29 games to go. He's going to set a career high now that he is humming along quite nicely. He got derailed by that neck issue, and I think he's a superstar, but that is a good argument. And his best season point-wise, Jack Eichel's 82. 6 years ago. Let us know your thoughts, 780-218-9999. Matt Kassian coming up shortly for Game Changers, and then we're going to hear from Phil Thompson from the Chicago Tribune a little bit later on. Of course, more of your texts. Keep those coming in. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff wherever you're listening or watching to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Let's get into starting lineups. I'm looking to see, Hernan, if there are any updates from Chris Knobloch, who spoke recently. Did you see anything before I go into lineup stuff?
Let me quickly make one quick check. It'll take 2 seconds.
All right.
No,
taking a quick look.
Nothing so far. I have Knobloch pregame that we're going to run later, but nothing in terms of lines or anything.
Well, why don't we run that now? Okay. And leading into Cass, and then that way we'll have an idea of what lineups might be like.
Sure.
How does that sound? All right.
Yep. Here's the Chris Knobloch pregame.
You've got a little bit of illness running through the team. Is Adam Henrique back tonight?
Adam will be back in the lineup. We've had some illnesses, but I think every team goes through it at some point. And ours has been, it's been a long stretch where guys haven't got a whole lot at one moment. It's been over a couple weeks.
You've played Connor McDavid the last couple games with Leon Draisaitl. Do you look to potentially, just as a little bit different matchup that this team presents, do you mix and match a little, or do you break them up?
Tonight they're going to be on different lines. They'll be centering their own lines, and through the course of the game, they always find their time together, whether that's on the power play, 4-on-4, or certain times of the game.
Jeff Skinner has been engaged over the last couple of games, and it's a defensive game. I think it's fair to say he's been has improved a little bit here. Does he maybe get an opportunity at some point in your top 6?
Jeff's been doing an outstanding job and doing everything we've been asking for him, and his attitude's been great, and obviously this year hasn't gone how he's expected. But as of late, you see him breaking up plays in the defensive zone and getting in on the forward check, and I think he's been creating a lot, getting some scoring chances, a lot of quality shots. We want to give him an opportunity to move up in the lineup, and tonight's that night.
Same D and Pickard?
That is right.
What sort of challenges does Chicago provide for you?
I think they've always played us hard, and I think they've got a pretty good line that plays against our McDavid line who can skate, and that's with Dickinson. They've got a lot of youth, a lot of speed, especially the last few games. They've inserted a couple new players. It's important that we're skating to keep up with them.
Have you gone through an illness situation with players that is similar to this, worse, or how would you kind of categorize what the team has gone through and how long it's lasted?
No, I think this is pretty typical. I think every team goes through it at some point, and in retrospect, it's probably nice how it's happened, where you're just losing one or two, and then it ultimately ends up being next man up. And we've been very fortunate in not having many injuries this year or last year, and this is just like an injury type game where guys have been hit hard for a little bit, but it's been short, and they've been able to respond, get back in the lineup right away.
Chris, is there anything from last night's game that you want to see carried over tonight or also cleaned up tonight?
A few things that we did. I thought in the offensive zone we had a lot of traffic around the net. Unfortunately, we weren't able to score any type of goals like that. I think we can do a better job of eliminating the cycle, getting in there quicker to end those plays. But I think our start definitely last night was a good one. We had a first good 20 minutes, and then laid it off a little bit until we're trailing in the game.
All right, that was Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch just about half an hour ago, having his pregame availability. Of course, no morning skate for the Oilers, having played in St. Louis last night, a 3-2 overtime win there. We did get some lineup updates, Nanso, that's why we did that. Good call on that. We heard from the head coach. He does say that Adam Henrique is back in, assuming Noah Philp is coming out. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl on their own lines tonight, not on the same line. No nuclear option to start, at least. And then Calvin Pickard will get the nod in goal. No surprise there. We will get to starting lineups later after we talk to Cass, after the teams hit the ice for warm-up. But those are the notes lineup-wise that you need to know. So the big man is ready to go. Matt Kassian, our game analyst from the Satellite Studios out in Sherwood Park, joining us now. Good evening, Cass. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Just stirring up the nasty chat a little bit.
All caps yelling?
Oh yeah. Yelling at people about trading Evan Bouchard again, because why the heck not? But no, we're good. I'm good, Tom. Ready for a little action against the Chicago Blackhawks, even if that 7:30 start time ends up being an 8 o'clock start time for some reason. But
it's scheduled as a 7:30 Mountain Time start, which is 8:30 Central in Chicago, and then official puck drop not till 8:52 Chicago time,
which is crazy.
Our time. I know it's a national game on the US.
What it is.
Mm-hmm. You just roll with it, and to the people in Chicago and the Midwest, kind of sucks for them, but that is a national game, and 2 exciting stars, 3. I'll throw in Leon Draisaitl as well, facing off against each other, and we were talking about that, Cass. It was the question of the night. Throw it out there to our viewers and our listeners one more time from Hernan. And it was, do you think Connor Bedard is going to be a star or a superstar? Text us, 780-218-9999. Do your thing in the nasty chat. Cass, what say you?
Yeah, I land on the star side. Okay. I land on the star side, and I've been saying this all along. I said this before he was drafted. Would say it again after watching him play for a year. Would say it again after watching him play this year a little bit. Granted, I don't watch every game that the Chicago Blackhawks play, so take it with a grain of salt. And I could be completely wrong. Maybe he does become a superstar, but for now, I would project him as being a star. So upper echelon in the league for sure, but not not climbing to the realm of, being one of the consistent top 10 guys in the league. And that's kind of where I go, like, okay, superstars. And my reason was and is and will be, and this was talking with a couple scouts, talking with some various agents that weren't, granted, Connor Bedard's agent, but going through conversations with them, their concern, now I'll use the word concern, maybe that's not the right word, but their thought, maybe that's a better word. Their thought was that, physically, for his age, he's extremely developed. And if you would look pre-draft, like, the guy's shredded, he is cut, he is fit, he's in shape. But if you look at like body weight, body mass, it's not like he's going to grow another 3 or 4 inches. Right? Like you've hit the growth spurt already. He's not going to continue to stretch upward, and you can't really pack that much more muscle into his body. Now, the whip of his stick, the flex, already uses an incredibly low flex stick. And the thought was, well, he's still going to be a goal scorer. I mean, he's got touch around the net, the ability to do that, but his velocity from a shooting standpoint most likely is not going to get any better. And playing against NHL goalies versus playing against, junior goalies, not that, he wasn't going to be able to score, but probably not at the same rate that he scored in junior. Right. And so I kind of buy into that a little bit. And physically, when I look at it, to go, could he be a star? Yeah, I think he will be. He's going to be a guy that regularly puts up a ton of points, that, is in that 60-point range, maybe more, has the ability to score 30 goals a season. Yes. But is he going to be a guy, that is capable of putting up 100 points on a regular basis? I just don't know if he gets there. And I think physically that's, he developed early, and again, will be a star, but maybe not quite to that superstar status.
Really quickly, in regard to the discussion between star and superstar, we were talking about Jack Eichel, and I'm like, that's a superstar for sure. His best season, points-wise, is 82. He's going to surpass that this year if he stays healthy. He's at 66 in 66 games. At 66 points in 53 games right now. Where do you look at Eichel and differentiate between him being a star and a superstar? Where does he fall in that category?
He's kind of borderline. I would say kind of borderline, isn't he?
He should be a superstar, right?
He should be, but I think he's been a little derailed because of the injuries, the neck injury in particular, where I think, if he doesn't have that injury, is able to stay healthy, is probably an easy call to say superstar. For me, he falls into the star category, doesn't quite crack that we'll call it like top 10, top 15 guys in the league list. So that's star, absolutely. Superstar, borderline still.
All right. That is Cass's take on the question of the night. Is Connor Bedard a star or a superstar? Or will he be just a star or a superstar? Let us know your thoughts. 780-218-9999. And, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, let us know in the nasty chat. Let's get to Game Changers with Cass, brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting now with the agency. And he's also been a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Number one tonight as the Oilers take on the Blackhawks. Cass, everybody ropes. What do you mean?
Everybody ropes. Gotta have everyone playing in this game. Back-to-back games. We did see a little bit of that overweight with the chase in the game and having to play guys a little bit more late, where Connor McDavid was just under 25 minutes. Leon Draisaitl just over 25 minutes. Heavy weight for Evan Bouchard at over 25 minutes. Would be nice with the back-to-back games. And I know it's not like it was a crazy travel schedule. It's not like you're flying through 3 different time zones here from St. Louis to Chicago, but it still is back-to-back night, and it is a type of a game where you relied on your superstars to get you back in that one and to win it late, or win it in OT rather, ultimately against the St. Louis Blues. Tom, tonight is a night you need your depth players to contribute, to find a way to be a difference in this game. You don't want to have to ride your top guys 25 minutes again tonight. Like that is a lot to ask in back-to-back games. A day in between, they have time to rest. This not so much, right? From just even having the neurological ability just to fire at the high level for another 25 minutes, it is difficult to do. And I don't think you want to have to rely and put yourself in a position as a team on those guys to be the big push. Like, Tom, it would be real nice to get some push from your depth players tonight. I think you need everybody along for the ride here today. I think the old saying goes, everybody ropes, everybody rides. And it's that kind of night, I think, for the Edmonton Oilers where you need to have your depth players contribute and play not overly significant minutes, but significant enough minutes that you can take a little bit of that pressure and that weight of time on ice off of your superstars. And I think you see that a little bit too with Knobloch talking about switching them to two lines, getting them off the same line where you're going to try to spread it out a little bit more tonight.
Cass, Sean Bell was in for you last night. Bellsy doing a great job. The nasty chat was hilarious. A lot of stuff that's not fit for air. And a lot of jokes being thrown around still right now about the nasty chat yesterday. But in the game and the win for the Oilers, it ended up being a come-from-behind victory, even though they had the lead going into the third period. What were some of the takeaways you had from last night's win in St. Louis?
Yeah, well, I didn't get to watch the whole game. I was just able to pick up on the highlights. I mean, it's the importance, which we'll talk about here, and maybe I'll just jump to that. We'll just jump because we can switch up the order of game changers to game changer number 3, which is just, I mean, stomp on them, step on them, crush them early. And that, to me, with the St. Louis game, that was kind of the tail of the tape. Was from my observations was, yes, you had a lead for the whole game, but you didn't extend that lead, right? You let them hang around because a 1-goal lead, you're one mistake, one shot, one play away from the team being tied and right back in it. And against the St. Louis Blues, which is a team that you should beat if you're playing well, not that they played poorly, but they find themselves behind again late because they just weren't able to bury and finish on some of the chances that they had. And it kind of carries into tonight too, where it's the type of game where, you want to find a way to bury a team and to not let them hang around. Like, that start is important today, coming out of a back-to-back situation, coming out of a travel situation against a team that is not very good.
Meddling.
It'll still beat you if you let them in a game and let them have that belief. Just super important tonight. And I think that, to me, was at least, again, I didn't see the whole game, so it's a little uneducated. I just saw the highlights. But from that game against St. Louis, where they just let St. Louis hang around and then had to, pull off some magic late in that one in an overtime to win it.
Hernan, any follow-ups before we get into point number 3 on Game Changers?
We good, man. We good.
You're satisfied. All right. It is Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian. Of course, Game Changers brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, now with the agency. Point number 1 was everybody ropes. Point number 2, stamp it out early. And point number 3, Cass, when I was reading this earlier when you sent these, I kind of laughed, and I wonder what you're talking about. Lil Jon it.
Yeah, shots. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Hey, the Edmonton Oilers sitting first place in the league right now, averaging 32.6 shots per game, and they've been putting up a ton of those at the net. The Chicago Blackhawks on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where they are not quite last in the league shots against. They're third last, giving up 31.5 shots against. These guys are leaky in the defensive zone. They don't do a great job protecting on zone entry. They don't do a good job defending 5-on-5 if you attack well and attack through the middle. And I just think that, it is a type of game. Again, you want quality shots, not just shot volume. But for the Edmonton Oilers, taking advantage of some of the looseness defensively that the Chicago Blackhawks have is really important. Now, that doesn't, again, mean just randomly throwing pucks to the net, but it means that you are going to get, most likely, offensive opportunity. Like, if you play well through the neutral zone in particular, you are going to be able to generate chances off the rush. And if you are smart with pucks in the offensive zone, not just throwing stuff away, but if you have a little bit of patience, you get some side-to-side movement and low-to-high movement to force the Chicago Blackhawks to move their defensive zone structure. They don't move it very well. They do not deal well with high movement in the offensive zone, which is when Edmonton's on, that's something that they do very well. Like, you see pucks going low to high, defensemen walking, you getting exchanges changes in zone, and that's where they try to open it up. And if you are able to execute your game plan that way, Tom, you're going to have a lot of shots, you're going to have a lot of looks, and now it's on the Edmonton Oilers, as I already mentioned, to actually bury those opportunities, because if there's one thing that's hampered them, even with their shot volume the last couple of games, it's that last inability to put the one in the net when you have that grade A opportunity. So you're going to get your chances. You're going to get your looks. Better be ready, Tom, to put that puck in the net. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Poetry, man. That's just straight up poetry. The fire, if I've ever heard it. Busting some rhymes, the lyrical prowess of one Lil Jonathan, if you will. Well done, Matt Kassian. Really quickly, when it comes to the Blackhawks and their offensive inabilities, tied for the league's lowest goals for 135 through 52 games. They're tied with the Ducks at 135. And they've given up the second most goals in the NHL. Actually, hang on. No, they haven't. They've given up the 7th most goals in the NHL, but their goal differential is second worst in the NHL at minus 44. The Hawks just 2 wins in the last 11 games, 1 in their last 6. They do not put up a lot of offense. And I'm with you, Cass. You need to extend the lead when you get the opportunity. All right, Cass, last one for you. Playing in Chicago, we had CJ in LA, who is now in Chicago. She's checking in from her Uber ride to the rink. I'm assuming she was staying somewhere downtown in a nice condo or hotel. What's it like playing at United Center or taking warm-up? Because I think you said you didn't play there, right?
Yeah, I just took warm-ups. Yeah, a lot of warm-ups at United Center. They were too good. Yeah, they were too good for me. It's a loud building. I don't know what the volume would be these days with them struggling. When the Blackhawks are playing well, it's a hostile environment. I mean, Chicago's fans, they love their sports. They love cheering, and they're generally pretty loud. Again, I probably not quite at the same level as typical, but it is through and through. Chicago's a great sports city. Now, you've had the opportunity to watch some of the other professional sports there, baseball in particular, and that's still it's a pretty rowdy, ruckus crowd in general there, which is fun. Now, even though they're not a very good team this year, it's still one of those buildings where there's still history there. Yeah. And I know it's not like an ancient building either, but there's history from a team and an organizational standpoint that's a very good history and a very respectable history, which just is, it's fun. It's fun playing in those buildings. It's fun playing at Madison Square Garden. It's fun playing in Toronto, fun playing in Montreal. They're just those original 6 and historic barns and historic teams and organizations. It's just always a special night. And so, for getting to go to watch the game, it's amazing getting to go watch a game in Chicago and a hockey game. I mean, it's a pretty cool place to play. A lot of really good Italian restaurants. Joe Corvo, whose wife was from Chicago, I believe. His father-in-law has an Italian place down there. Can't remember what it's called off the top of my head right now. But pretty fun city, really good food, really good environment. Will be a lot of fun. And it's fun to play there too. Well, I assume it is. I guess decently fun to watch from the press box.
One of the few rinks you didn't get a chance to play in. The United Center opened January 25th, 1995 on the NHL side. Of course, the Bulls play there. And the Blackhawks faced the Edmonton Oilers in that game, defeating them 5-1. And then later that calendar year, our dear friend and colleague, co-host of EST Afternoons, Joaquin Gage, went in for Bill Ranford against the Blackhawks on November 12th. And the Oilers were down in that game. And Gager played stellar, making 14 saves on 15 shots, only allowing 1 goal en route to a 4-4 tie against the vastly superior Blackhawks team.
And he was named the first star, boys.
And I loved his story. Ooh. He was so mad about the morning skate, and he knew he figured he wasn't going to play, that he went shopping all afternoon, didn't go through the pregame routine, and had a stellar night.
Yeah, he bought some Gucci, he said.
Of course he did.
Yeah, sounds about right, Gager. Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, there you go. Cass, any final thoughts heading into this one?
No, I just I love Zedmo's idea. I know I disagree with Zedmo all the time on all sorts of things, but he says I should start my own YouTube channel or a EST stream where I review restaurants in towns where I almost played an NHL game. There'd be a few of them, so maybe we do that. That'd be fun. I like that. But no, for the game tonight, guys, to me it comes down to just sticking with your process and actually putting the puck in the net because you're going to get your chances.
Nancito, any follow-up?
Yeah, you guys have both been in Chicago, obviously. What's the best meal you had there? Because it's got to be good food there.
Oh, go ahead, Cass.
The best food? Probably would have been that. And again, it's crushing me that I can't remember the name of it. But and we probably got, you got this special treatment going to Corvo's father-in-law's restaurant. I can't remember the name of it. It's going to crush me. Hopefully it pops into my head. But you know what? I wasn't overly adventurous on the road. I kind of was like, I had my spots and I stuck to them. So that really was the only place I ever ate in Chicago, I'd have to say.
I love Gibson's. It was featured in the league, but even in the league, it was more of a pub, and then Gibson's is it's a steakhouse. Always loved going there. And then I had the good fortune when 99 was with the Oilers. He invited us to dinner somewhere along the river at this great steakhouse. I don't remember the name of it, but he was VIP. Like, it was the treatment was unbelievable. That was an opportunity of a lifetime. Best meal I've ever had, although Gibson's is a great go-to if you're downtown Chicago. Those are my recommendations. So there you go. Cass, great stuff as always, my friend. We'll catch up with you on the post-game show.
Sounds good, fellas.
There is Matt Kassian with Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, now with the agency. If you're looking to buy or sell your home or get into a new home, check them out, DamonBunting.com, or on Instagram, Damon Bunting Real Estate. And so, any good texts coming in? I saw a few.
Well, unfortunately, the texts right now on my end are not working. Jay was having
it was kind of wonky.
Yeah, so I can't. Right now, mine just keeps spinning, Tom. So I apologize for that. I can't read any texts right now. Hopefully, it fixes itself by the time we roll around with the post game.
The text line is wonky. I do have one here from Peter. Peter texting in says, Tommy, I think us as fans and media take this team for granted at times. I know for myself, I have been overly critical of this team. Just look at some of my text messages here. Going forward, I'll be known as Positive Pete. It wasn't that long ago that the Oilers were trash. So whatever happens, I'm going to enjoy watching this incredible team play. Signed, Positive Pete. I like that one. Good text, Pete. Shout out to Jason the Acadian and Andrea, who are awkwardly sitting behind me, staring at the back of my beautiful hair, according to Jason. Hi, guys. Thanks for coming down. Love it. Deaky Sparks texting in as well. Says, Blackhawks are like the Falcons. If you want to lose, they might beat you. Just want to win, and it should be 2 points on the board. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. If you're watching on YouTube, we have Phil Thompson from the Chicago Tribune coming up in a couple of minutes here. He'll give us the scoop on the Blackhawks. Tom Gazzola live on location at Boston Pizza Westgate. Good to see some of the nasties coming out. Rob from the Grove is here right now. Derek Van Dies from NHL.com will be joining for the evening as well. Hopefully we can drag Hernan out here too from the cozy confines of the EST Global HQ. On Sunday, we have a tailgate happening here at Boston Pizza Westgate from 2 to 4. You can get a beer and a burger, a classic burger and a beer for $10. All the proceeds going to the Ben Stelter Foundation. That's important and a great cause. All the proceeds, Curtis says, from BP Westgate to the Ben Stelter Foundation. I saw Mike and Leah Stelter last week. Great to see them, catch up with them a little bit. Didn't bother them too much. They were busy, but very nice to say hello, check up and see how Mike was doing. Looks like he's doing really good. And I was very happy to see that and just to say hello. So $10, a beer and a burger here at Boston Pizza Westgate during the tailgate from 2 to 4. All of it going to the Ben Stelter Foundation. Then for the big game, as they like to say, tons of great prizing as well as specials for game day. And, BP likes to do it right, and they'll be having a great time here on Sunday. Next week, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. We're going to be having some heart-shaped pizzas at EST on the 13th leading into the weekend. And you can get heart-shaped pizzas here at Boston Pizza, mediums and smalls, takeout and delivery, or when you're here. So it's going to be fantastic. Love is in the air next week, and the weather will be much, much better. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999 if you're watching on YouTube. Get into the nasty chat as well. We're going to give you an update on the lineups when the teams hit the ice for warm-up down at United Center. But in the meantime, we're going to catch up with Phil Thompson from the Chicago Tribune, giving us the scoop on the Hawks. They are a team that have had their struggles this season. Phil, you've been covering this team. You're with them, and no better person to talk to than you about the Chicago team. 1 win in its last 6, 2 in the last 11. From what you've seen, what's been really letting down this group game to game in this tough stretch?
I would say shots on goal and the forecheck. They're just kind of losing their discipline on the forecheck. They're not as aggressive as they used to be. It causes them to kind of retreat on their heels and then get hemmed in. They've had this kind of problem where they've been hemmed in their zone and they're getting one shot in a period in 2 games in a row. They get maybe 3, and then maybe they turn it on in the second or third period.
So we're always playing catch-up. That's tough to do, especially consistently in the National Hockey League. Phil, Anders Sorensen, I know he took over for Luke Richardson. 8-15-3 is his record. Have there been any positive changes that he's made? Are there some signs of life under Sorensen, or is it kind of more of the same in your opinion?
Well, you're definitely seeing better results from the younger skaters. Bedard definitely has been better under Sorensen. Frank Nazar has come in and contributed. Colton Dot for a while. Landon Slaggert has gotten off to a hot start. Of course, Sorensen has worked directly with these guys in Rockford before he was called up. I would say Sorensen also initially got defensemen more involved on the rush and jumping into the zone more than I would say Luke Richardson did. Luke was a little more conservative. He didn't give up as many goals and certainly not as many shots, but it was like a real conservative game, like baseball, let's win 2-1, 3-2 kind of game.
That does not make for exciting hockey, especially when you got an exciting player like Connor Bedard playing for you. Phil Thompson from the Chicago Tribune with us now, giving us the scoop on the Hawks. Like we were talking about this earlier, Matt Kassian, our game analyst, was saying, great sports city, loved Chicago, never got to actually play in one of the games. He'd have to take warm-up, and then the Hawks were too good, and he'd always get benched in those games. I covered many, many games at United Center when the Hawks were in their heyday. And I love that city, but it knows its team really well. It knows hockey really well. How is the fan base dealing with this rebuilding process in Chicago? How would you describe it?
I would say that the first 2 years, the fan base was really patient. The way that they did it is they had a big Don and Pony show, and they kind of laid out what the plan was and said, hey, we're not going to rush this. And they were generally receptive to that. I think this season, this off season, they brought in guys like Teuvo Teravainen, Tyler Bertuzzi, Alec Martinez, and there was expectations that rose along with those acquisitions. Mm-hmm. So when they didn't see actual progress, it was more the same. People started to balk a little bit.
Phil, you mentioned a bunch of veteran players there, and I know there's a lot of one-year contracts for some of these vets. Are they already starting to hint at maybe moving on from the team as the rebuild continues and the trade deadline's coming closer?
Yeah, I mean, they're they've already parted with Taylor Hall, who's expiring. There's some chatter that Ryan Donato may be on the trade block. He's not one of those guys that were just recently brought in, and he's a little younger than them. He's kind of a glue guy that I think kind of reminds me a little bit of Brandon Hagel in terms of the function he serves in the locker room, not necessarily his game.
Right.
I think you try to keep those guys if you can. But the other guys, the 1 years, I don't see a lot of them coming back.
How about Seth Jones, Phil? What's the vibe you're getting from him?
Seth Jones is, actually pretty steady. I talked to him about a lot of the grief that he gets from the fan base, and he understands, a lot of it's the contract, but he kind of lets it roll off his back. He just tries to do his job. He tries to be a quiet leader in the locker room. He's going to be here for a long time unless he's traded for whatever reason. But, he's just trying to be part of the solution and not let the extraneous stuff get to him too much.
Phil Thompson with us from the Chicago Tribune. Oilers and Blackhawks, 8:52 local puck drop in Chicago, 7:52 our time here in Edmonton. I know we're getting set for the Four Nations face-off, Canada, U.S., Sweden, Finland. We've got a couple of NHL games to go before that, certainly. But, Phil, what's your read on the excitement around this Four Nations face-off tournament? I know in Canada there's a curious kind of let's see how these guys do, and let's see what the chemistry is like heading into the 2026 Olympics. What's your assessment of how Americans and hockey fans down in the U.S. are looking at the Four Nations face-off?
I think there's among the diehards, there's some buzz for it. I think you're a casual fan off the street. They don't necessarily know about this
right.
Per se. I can tell you in the locker room, there's certainly rivalries that are going on now. Teravainen, who's participating, he's as low key as you're going to get, so you're not going to get a lot of hype out of him, regardless. But Bedard is all things Canada. I mean, he was seriously pro Canada in any of the international tournaments. So, and he's just a huge fan. I mean, the man consumes hockey like a drug.
Yeah, straight up hockey nerd. All right. One last one for you, Phil.
Sure.
Oilers and Hawks tonight. What are you expecting between these two teams here?
Well, unfortunately for the Hawks, the Oilers are in that mold of the teams that have kind of plagued the Hawks lately, that are, just the kind of team that buzzes around, Hawks' possession of the puck. And I see another kind of repeat of what they went through against, the Hurricanes and, in the Wild and teams like that.
It's going to be interesting to see how the Oilers handle the Hawks on a second half of a back-to-back. Chicago looking to get back into the win column, just one win in their last six. Phil Thompson, really appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the game. Be well, sir. We'll have to do this again.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Thanks for having me.
That's Phil Thompson from the Chicago Tribune covering the Blackhawks. The Hawks have struggled against the Oilers. Edmonton 7-2-1 in its last 10 versus Chicago. The Oilers have won their last 4 visits to the United Center. And you heard Phil talking about it, getting hemmed in their own zone. The Blackhawks have been a lot of one-and-dones offensively. They're not a high-scoring team. They do not have a good goal differential, -44 on the season. Hernan, Salas, and no surprise there to hear that there isn't a ton of buzz for the casual sports fan when it comes to the Four Nations face-off. So I don't think we should be too shocked about that, no?
Yeah, we're not breaking any news with that one.
No.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's huge here in Canada, obviously. We're going to be all over it. But in the U.S., minimal interest. I mean, unless it's like a Minnesota because they love their hockey there.
Right.
Stuff like that. But yeah, The first couple of games are going to tell us a lot. I can see what kind of it's going to be like. I mean, you got the best of the best for 4 countries going toe to toe, and I think everybody's pretty excited with Connor McDavid playing with McKinnon and Crosby and all those guys. So yeah, it's the interest level's definitely not the same down south, my friend.
No. If Crosby, I know they have to evaluate Crosby, and Mike Sullivan said, whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves today when he was addressing the media. Crosby didn't skate at Penn's practice. Yes, he pulled RV, gets sent down back to Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, by the way. And the Pens don't have a game till Friday. They have another practice tomorrow. Crosby did finish that game against New Jersey yesterday after getting hurt, going to the room, getting checked out by the athletic therapist. If he can't go or he's hurt for a small portion of the tournament, Hernan, who would you like to see replace Sidney Crosby?
Who?
Right?
Probably a guy that I thought that should have been on the team, Mark Scheifele. Yeah.
Scheifele would be a good one.
I think that's right. I think he's a center. I mean, in these tournaments, that doesn't really matter. I understand that. But yeah, I was surprised he didn't make the team. He's having an excellent year. So is that team. I was blown away that he wasn't on there, but I'd probably have to go with Mark Scheifele as my top pick.
Would you even consider putting Zach Hyman back on there, or would you say, forget it? No, don't go. Just let him take some time off.
I mean, I don't know if I'd, it's up to the player, right? So like I'd probably want less Oilers going to this tournament. There's much bigger things on the line for this team. So in that sense, it's for me like, yeah, sure, I'd love to see Hyman there. He probably would have been there if he doesn't get hurt or have the slow start. I truly believe that. But at the same time, if he can get an extra 2 weeks off, a week in Cabo, relaxing, resting the body, getting ready for the stretch run here. We're hoping here in Edmonton's going to be another long one. Yeah, take Mark Scheifele instead of Zach Hyman. But again, it'd be great to see Hyman there. He's earned it. He's kind of come out of not nowhere, but he wasn't, nobody ever thought he was going to score 50 and then just, being the player that he has become. So he's definitely earned the right to be there as well. So hard to say, Tom, especially with Zach Hyman, because you're thinking about the Oilers season and playoffs, but then you also want to be happy for the guy to get that kind of honor to represent Canada.
What say you? 780-218-9999. Let us know via the nasty chat as well if you're watching on YouTube. We do have lines, and so we're going to get to starting lineups brought to you by South Fort Chev. Reserve your 2025 Equinox, Trax, and Traverse now. They won't last long. They've also got the best discounts on 2025 Silverados, and they won't be beat. See dealer for details, www.southfortchev.com. All right, updated lines for the Oil tonight as they take on the lowly Chicago Blackhawks. McDavid centering Arvidsson and Hyman. Interesting. Draisaitl between Jeff Skinner and Podkolzin. Interesting. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins between Connor Brown and Matthias Janmark, and then Adam Henrique back in action. You heard Chris Knobloch earlier in the show saying Henrique would play. He will center Corey Perry and Kasperi. Kapanen on defense, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Klingberg, Kulak with Emerson. What do you make of those top two lines, Hernan, Salas, and all of our listeners and viewers? McDavid between Arvidsson and Hyman. Draisaitl between Jeff Skinner and Vasily Podkolzin. Podkolzin back up to the top six. Jeff Skinner into the top six with Leon Draisaitl. McDavid with Arvidsson, who's been struggling, and we talked about it last night. We talked about it today on our station. And Hyman gets back up there with McDavid. What say you, Hernan, Salas?
Yeah, man. Talk about a blender for Knobber here. He's taking Mac T to school when it comes to the blender this season. Holy smokes. Arvidsson, they need him to get going. He's been truly bad in the last 3 games. He can't stay on his feet, can't make a play. So I think they're putting him there to say, hey, man, we're playing you with McDavid. Get your game back on track. Jeff Skinner, I like it. Back in the top 6. He's earned it, and he's earned it because he's been better defensively, Tom. Don't let anyone tell you different.
Ooh.
And then Podkolzin, I mean, sure, he spends one game away from there and he's back in the top 6. You got to start producing, buddy. And that goes for Arvidsson and that goes for Skinner as well. And Connor Brown and a lot of the guys, Adam Enrique. So you got to produce if you're going to be there. That third line, shutdown line, and then the fourth line, sure, Enrique, Perry, Kapanen. There's some speed. There's some skill and the worms there, so it's never a bad thing, Tommy. So yeah, I mean the blender's out in full force for Chris Knobloch. We'll see if these lines work. Or the better question is, Tom, how long do they last with these lines?
Not long, regardless of if they work or not. I would say. I think they're going to be okay tonight, especially considering the opponent. Now, don't take the opponent lightly. Go and take the game away. Get that goal that gives you an extended lead. Don't fall behind. The Oilers already lost to the Blackhawks early this year, back on October 12th, I think it was, here in Edmonton. And just get out of there with 2 points, right?
Tommy.
Have back-to-back wins and back-to-back nights in the Midwest, then go into that Friday game recharged, refreshed, and ready to end this portion of the season before the Four Nations face-off. Yes, Hernan.
Tommy, so big news. Oiler fans will not be happy with this. Marcus Pettersson has been extended by the Vancouver Canucks. It's a 6-year deal with a 5.5 AAV. That was announced about 10 minutes ago.
33 Schmil. So the Canucks get their defenseman, and they extend him. Thank you for the update on that, Nancito. As we roll along, we are in the midst of your starting lineups, brought to you by South Fort Chev. So for the Oilers, a different look tonight, and you'll see McDavid and Draisaitl separated. McDavid between Arvidsson and Hyman, Draisaitl with Jeff Skinner and Podkolzin, Nugent Hopkins centering Janmark and Brown, Henrique back in the lineup and in action with Perry and Kapanen, Ekholm paired up with Bouchard, Nurse with Klingberg, Kulak with Emerson. Let's take a look now at the Chicago Blackhawks. They have Connor Bedard with Landon Slaggert and Ryan Donato. Jason Dickinson between Teuvo Teravainen and Ilya Mikheyev. Frankie Nazar between Nick Foligno and Tyler Bertuzzi. Then Lucas Reichel with Patty Maroon and Craig Smith. On defense for the Hawks tonight, Alec Martinez with Seth Jones. Alex Vlasic with Connor Murphy. Ethan Del Mastro expected to be paired up with TJ Brody. No Nolan Allen for the Hawks. If there's a tweak, I will pass that along your way. Your starting goalies for tonight, 32-year-old Calvin Pickard confirmed. 13-4 record, 247 GAA, 901 save percentage in 19 games this season. Pickard versus the Blackhawks over the course of his career, a 4-5 record, 307 goals against average, 906 save percentage, 1 shutout in those 11 appearances versus Chicago. And then at the other end of the rink, 25-year-old Arvid Soderblom, or is it Soderblom, Hernan? Because the two brothers have different pronunciations. I can't remember which one does it which way. Soderblom, 7-12-3 on the season, 289 goals against average, 909 save percentage in the 23 games he has gotten into this season. Soderblom versus the Edmonton Oilers over the course of his career. 2 appearances, 0-2 record, 462 goals against average, 880 save percentage in those games. And that takes us to the Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. If you have a nagging pain you'd like to see go away, book your consultation today at AdvantageSportsMed.ca. For the Oilers, Alec Regula, IR knee, Evander Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery, and knee surgery. For the Hawks, Louis Crevier, IR concussion, and Laurent Brossoit, the former Oiler and Oil King, had knee surgery in the offseason. He is also on the IR. 780-218-9999. Get into the conversation. Hernan, Salas, anything else to pass along? We'll go for a few more minutes because of the late start between the Oilers and the Blackhawks. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Interesting lines. People, he is bringing out the blender tonight, but I just look at this game as the Oilers. I don't think they tend to take these teams lightly. That used to be the narrative before, and it was true, but I think they've turned that kind of corner. Do they drop games to lesser teams, Tom, from time to time? Yes. Is Chicago going to be raring to go and trying to get back in the winning column tonight? Of course. But the Oilers are significantly better. And they just got, like I said last night, if the Oilers show up and they want to work hard, they're going to win this game. But if they're going out there and saying, hey, guys, we only need to play 20 minutes, they might be in a little bit of trouble. Now, can they beat Chicago playing only 20 minutes? Maybe. Who knows? But I just want to see the Edmonton Oilers play. I think you said it at the start of the show. Just go out there and play a nice, professional, mature game. Don't mess around. Put them away when you get the opportunities, and don't let bad habits creep in if you're up 2, 3, 4 goals here. But I'm expecting the Oilers to win tonight. I'd be extremely disappointed if they lose.
I'm with you on that one. I'm just looking to see if the Hawks have updated their lineup. Let's see if maybe Charlie Remiliotis, although usually Charlie is pretty on it. Maybe Phil as well. I haven't seen anything because I know they've had a few guys that have been called up and sent down recently, but they have activated Craig Smith. Okay, we do have a confirmed lineup. Bedard between Slaggert and Donato, Dickinson with Teravainen and Mikheyev, Nazar with Foligno and Bertuzzi, Reichel with Maroon and Smith. So just like we had it a couple minutes ago, Martinez and Jones, Vlasic paired up with Murphy, Del Mastro with Brody, and Soderblom between the pipes. Okay, so confirmed. We are good to go lineup-wise. Let's go into the inbox and the nasty chat. Last couple minutes of the show. It is a late start, like Hernan was talking about. 8:52 puck drop in Chicago, 7:52 our time. Cal in the Park says, obviously, Knobloch made a typo on the board. Jeff Skinner in the top 6. About time, but it will only last a shift or two because unless you are McDavid, Dry, or Hyman, you don't get ice time. Good to hear from Cal in the Park. Sean texting in says, the only thing nice about the Four Nations Cup is the Team Canada jersey. That jersey is muy fuego, and it's Four Nations face-off. I have to even say it and repeat it in my head. Four Nations face-off, not Four Nations Cup, although I think our instinct is to say Four Nations Cup. And then Sean also adds, what's the over-under that Arvidsson trips on his own skates, especially with McDavid's speed? What would you say, Hernan?
Yeah, it's going to happen at least twice tonight. He's becoming known for that now, just falling.
Yeah. The out of nowhere toe pick. I think we saw it on the power play yesterday. Kind of killed some zone time on some rare power play 2 opportunity yesterday in St. Louis. Rob from the Grove, who's on location here at Boston Pizza Westgate with us, says swap Jay Skinner for Arvidsson, in my opinion. So if you did that,
bad idea.
It could happen in game. Let's not kid ourselves, right? It could happen in game. Where did I lost the line? There they are. So Arvidsson for Jeff Skinner. Yeah, McDavid with Hyman and Jeff Skinner, and then Arvidsson with Draisaitl and Podkolzin in that line back together. It could happen this game. Good point, Rob. Good point indeed. All right, couple more here. Hyman replaces Crosby, says CB radio guy, in regard to the Four Nations face-off and Team Canada. If Crosby can't go, we'll probably get more information tomorrow from the Pens. And then CB radio guy also adds, Oilers have that. Skinner 100% lets in backbreakers, but Skinner also makes highlight reel saves. I'd like him to lock it down, not let the stinker in when the games really count. Skinner, I think, figured that out in the Dallas series last year. Hampton Steve says, as much as Hyman deserves to be on Team Canada, the less Oilers involved in this made-up tournament, the better. So very much in line with what you were thinking, Hernan. And then Troll says, Scheifele has 31 goals already this year. Big miss by Canada. I agree. I was very surprised when they announced the roster and they had Hagel on there, who's having a good year. And who's the Lightning player?
Seth Jarvis. And
no, not Seth Jarvis. That's Carolina.
Cirelli?
Anthony Cirelli. But that's 100% John Cooper taking his guys, right? And we've seen that with Team Canada and other teams in the past. Ryan from Sass says, your show got me home after work today. Southeast Saskatchewan highways were a nightmare this afternoon while white knuckle on the wheel, oil stream on the radio. Happy to help, Ryan. We appreciate that very, very much. All right, Nancito, we're going to wind things down here. Any final thoughts from you?
So let's go. We'll see what happens. The Oilers won last night, and it was a nasty chat. So
yeah, it was. I told you a good joke that somebody passed along to me. Did you like that one?
Mm-hmm. That was good.
Yeah, it's not fit for the air.
No,
but very much in line with what was being said in the nasty chat last night. You guys are nasty last night.
Let's go. Jeff Skinner Potts won tonight. That's my prediction.
There you go. Bold prediction from Hernan Salas. By the way, we're here at Boston Pizza Westgate. If you are looking to take advantage of some great food specials and drink specials, $5 off medium pizzas every game day, $1 off tankards of Coors Light and Molson Canadian. And then on Sunday, if you're looking for a spot to watch the Super Bowl, or you want to stop in somewhere before you go to your Super Bowl party, they're doing the tailgate here at Boston Pizza Westgate between 2 and 4 p.m. $10 gets you a beer and a burger. All proceeds from those going to the Ben Stelter Foundation. And then for the Super Bowl, the game itself here at Boston Pizza Westgate, tons of huge prizes as well as some smaller prizes. They do it up really good. You've got the Coors Light golf simulator over my shoulder. If you don't want to play golf, you can also play. There's other games you can play. There's like a football tossing game. There's some other stuff you can do as well. I think there's a soccer one. I think I saw one time. So that's only $20 an hour. Great price, great rate there. One of the best rates in the city for the sim. And then next week, Valentine's week, they're doing the heart-shaped pizzas here at Boston Pizza Westgate, as well as all participating Boston pizzas, mediums and smalls. You can take out, delivery, and of course, order in if you come on down to BP Westgate or any Boston Pizza for maybe a Valentine's Day date. It's going to be great. And then if you're coming down tonight, we've got some giveaways, some GCs, some T-shirts, some hats, a couple of coolers, and a Madri chalice. So Tony going into the tickle trunk. He's saving the really good stuff. The stuff's really good, but the juicy stuff for Super Bowl Sunday. All right. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Big thank you to Phil Thompson from the Chicago Tribune, to everybody who watched and listened. You know we appreciate you on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Apple Music, Amazon Music. If you're watching on YouTube, a big thank you to all of you. For Matt Kassian and Hernan Salas, I am Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the Oilers and Blackhawks. If you're coming on down, join us, won't you? Here at BP Westgate, and then we'll see you on the GCL Diesel postgame show. Ciao for now.